when you're designing for the kind of developing world, right? You'd think that there might be lots of differences between kind of how you go about it. We find it's not. I mean, we use the same methodology, the same kind of point of view about how we look for innovation. Where do we look for leads, and where do we look for kind of non-obvious things that comes up? The thing that's really interesting, however, is that people don't have the trust. You know, I go in as a university professor or an engineer into most places, and there's a lot of trust because their life experience is that when you meet with the kind of experts, you know, good things happen. And that's, you know, you don't have any credentials in that world as much, I believe. And so in some ways it's better to design because it's a meritocracy. When we're doing for the developing world, there's always cost, right? I mean, we know cost is that, but reliability like raises its head like in such an extreme way, because I think the experience has been in a lot of places where we go to design is that, you know, somebody brought something in but is not maintaining it, right? And so the whole notion of reliability is really interesting because not only does it have to actually be reliable, it has to look like it's going to be reliable, it has to smell like it's going to be reliable, and so it's taken our game to a whole different level with respect to reliability, which is good when we're designing things back in this part of the world.
Right, and when you're developing, especially for when you're creating things for developing countries, you have to be extra careful not to rely on your own assumptions. You have to be extra careful to be cognizant of, you know, the mindset and the worldview and the belief system of the people you're creating things for. So if you take that Embrace infant warmer developed here at Stanford for developing countries, in one of the prototypes there was a LCD thermometer because they wanted them to heat this infant warmer to body temperature, 36 degrees centigrade, is that the right number? 98.6, anyhow. And they showed their prototype, and thank God they did. They showed their prototype to these villagers in India and, you know, asked them for feedback and really listened, right? They weren't selling, they were listening. And one of the young moms said, well, you know, here in our village, we have a lot of respect, by which she possibly meant fear, for Western medicine. And so if the doctor tells to give my baby 2 drops of something, I might just give 1 drop just to be safe. So if you tell me I want to heat this pad to 36 degrees, I might heat it to maybe 30 or 31 just to be safe. Right? And in doing so, this mom who wants nothing but the best for her child, she's putting her young baby's life at risk. And so you can sit back with your, you know, high, you know, profile university degree and think of this mom as stupid, right? She is uneducated. She's not stupid. She's trying to do the best she can. And you could, you know, like write a better instruction manual. But if you have empathy and if you want your product to succeed, especially in this case you want it to save lives, you got to meet them halfway. And so what Jane Chen and the members of the Embrace team is, they changed it. There's not a number anymore. I think there's a check mark, because you can't second guess a check mark. It either is on or it's not on, right? And so only by understanding that belief system in a culture very different than one's own, can you develop the right product, the right technology for that environment.